Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Ward, and I'm your state representative, your state assembly member for the 78th Assembly District, which includes a lot of our communities in central San Diego. I want to thank you all. It's wonderful to see so many of us joining here virtually today. I'm live from you at the state capitol right now in Sacramento as we're doing the work and really starting off to a very, very busy year. And I also especially want to start by thanking St. Paul's Manor for helping to host our in-person audience today and really appreciate your partnership. So we'll be brief. We are here today to be able to help provide you with access to a lot of valuable resources and to help protect ourselves and each other from scams and fraud. Now, we work hard to stay very current on some of the trends that bad actors are using in our community, and we know that it's our responsibility to ensure that we are getting the information and tools to you in order to stay safe, healthy, and financially secure. Now, unfortunately and especially, seniors in our community are often particularly targeted by scammers and fraudsters, and of course, the consequences can be devastating. This is expanding with new advancements in technology, and it can make it more difficult to be able to distinguish what is real and what is fraud. And that's why we've organized this webinar here today to help bring you current and to empower you with some of the knowledge that you need and also connect you with some of the resources that you might want to need in the future. I am thrilled to be joined today by a fantastic panel of experts from a lot of key California state agencies who are on the front lines of protecting consumers and providing some of these vital services. So today you're going to hear from Kira Hall. She's from the Contractor State Licensing Board, and she's going to share tips on how to avoid a lot of contractor fraud and ensure that you're working with licensed professionals. Then we'll hear from Brenda Kaloka from the Department of Insurance, who will discuss insurance scams and how to protect your policies and some of your investments. And then lastly, we have Sally Kim Westlake from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, and she will provide you crucial information on avoiding financial scams and managing your finances securely. So today, you're going to be hearing a lot about how to recognize some of these more common scams and how to report them, and also learn about some of the resources that you can take advantage of. And before we begin the presentations, I do want to thank you again for the opportunity to be your representative in the state assembly up here at the state capitol. We are already hard at work as this year is underway, and we're introducing new pieces of legislation. And I just thought you'd like to know about some of the other bills that we're hearing about. One has to do with disaster and emergency preparedness to make sure that training and resources are available through some of our aging and disability programs. And that really is going to be able to help a lot of our older adults stay safer during any emergency, be it a wildfire, earthquake, heat waves, or other emergencies, by improving a lot of the coordination and preparedness that we need to see on a local level. I'm very excited for one of my colleagues who introduced AB 1900, which is the Guarantee Healthcare for All. I think you all are appreciating we're under a lot of duress from Washington, from the federal government, and we need to make sure that our state healthcare system is solid so that everybody, and especially our seniors, have access to quality medical care without having to worry about any gaps in coverage or high costs or any complicated insurance rules. And then lastly, a bill just got introduced by Senator Menjivar, my colleague, to help residential care facilities for the elderly, making sure that there's clear identification and understanding any of the types of violations that can be found in some of these facilities if there's any incidents of neglect, physical abuse, or financial abuse. So again, there to be able to protect and make sure everybody is in a really good space. And the work continues right now as I start to look at our state budget and some of the other things that I want to do in areas of housing affordability and protecting your privacy. So once again, I want to thank our presenters. I want to thank all of our attendees and our hosts for making this event possible. And I want to inform everybody that this webinar is being recorded for those unable to attend. So if you found something of interest that you want to share with somebody else, or you thought you heard something and you want to go back and rewatch and make sure that you're taking down good notes on some of those tips, just know that this will be housed on my assembly website in case anybody would like to review. We're always here to assist you in my district office, so please do not hesitate to reach out if we can help you with any state-related issues. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first presenter.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. Give me just a moment to get my presentation up, but I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you again to Assemblymember Ward, to his staff, to everyone who's helped put this event together. Thank you so much. To our partner presenters who are here to give you lots of valuable information. You're going to learn a lot today. So to get started, I'm going to be giving you all the fun and exciting. Hold on just a moment. Here we go. I'm going to give you all the ins and outs when it comes to construction fraud. I know it's one of those types of scams where you might not think about it as much as you do maybe grandparent scams, technology fraud. So there's a lot that you need to know, and not all of it is what you may know you need to know. So I know that's a tongue twister, but that's what I'm here to teach you today. So to get started, so again, my name is Kira Hall, and I am the outreach coordinator at the Contractor State License Board and the statewide designated speaker for our Senior Scam Stopper program. So before I get into all the ins and outs of the presentation, so I just want to give you a brief overview of what we do at the Contractors Board. And what our purpose is, what our mission is. So we have essentially a dual purpose. We regulate the construction industry by licensing contractors. So for any of you who've ever hired a contractor before and you've been shown their little pocket ID, that little license, so those are issued by us in Sacramento at our headquarters where I am speaking to you today. I'm sure you're getting a lot more lovely weather than we are up here because it is absolutely stormy and insane. But on top of the industry side, right, licensing contractors, we, by licensing contractors, can protect consumers who hire contractors. And we were originally established in 1929 with this purpose. So now that you've got a little bit of background, okay, hold on, my computer's being goofy. There we go. So again, this is our Senior Scam Stopper presentation. So just a quick little more background on our program. So we have been doing this presentation since 1999. This is our service marked presentation name that CSLB owns, and we are so pleased over the years to have gotten to partner with so many legislative offices statewide, our fantastic partner state agency presenters. We also work with local statewide nonprofits, all different kinds of local government, you name it, public event, we're there. And believe it or not, I am older than the presentation, just to make a few of you smile this afternoon. So today I'm going to cover why seniors are targeted in scams. I'm going to go over some scam tactics. I know the assembly member mentioned the importance of staying current, right, on the current trends, the current scams. I'm going to give a few examples of what to know about certain types of construction jobs and the particular types of jobs. I'm going to give two examples later in the presentation of those types of jobs that we see so many complaints come from. I'm also going to teach you what should you know before you hire a contractor. I'm going to go over how to file a complaint, give you some resources, and I'm going to show you at the end how to check a license. It is a fantastic resource. And despite it obviously being my job to recommend it, it really is a valuable thing to do before you hire a contractor, and I will show you why. And I'm going to go over additional resources for seniors. So let's talk about what should you as a senior know before you hire a contractor. So to get started, seniors are a population. There's a few different factors that go into why seniors are so targeted as a population. Number one is you're more likely to feel pressure to be polite, to trust, you know, the people coming to your door or approaching you at the grocery store or whatever it may be. You're more likely to live alone, maybe spend a lot of time alone, but you also might have accrued wealth, retirement, Social Security, money in your home, a nest egg, right? All those factors go into why scammers might try to manipulate and take advantage because they know all this information, and which can make seniors a targeted population. And believe it or not, so scammers are attracted to any amount of money that they can get from a victim. So never think that they won't go that extra mile. Even if it's over, let's say, what might seem like a trivial $10. They start there. That is their goal, is to build your trust. And then if they determine that they can get anything, yeah, they're going to start there. They're not going to stop there. So that's what's very important to know. And as well, don't answer your door to strangers because it's okay to say no. It's okay to have boundaries, and you're not being rude by saying no to someone who's showing up at your door without permission, or someone who just doesn't have the invitation or reason to be on your property, at your door, whatever it might be, because boundaries protect you and your wealth and your well-being overall, right? And when it comes to making cash payments, so it's definitely best to avoid that. And the reason for that is paying in cash is not a traceable payment. So it makes it a lot easier for scammers to take your money and a lot harder for law enforcement, for financial organizations to try to trace that money back to the victim. So for that reason, it is best to avoid that. Especially, I like to say, let's take just a quick moment to think critically, right? If a legitimate construction company cannot take a form of payment in anything but cash, right? They can't run a card, they can't accept a check. That's not a very legitimate business practice, right? When you really think about it. So, for that reason, if a contractor is asking you for a cash payment only, that is a huge red flag. All right, and I know you're going to get a lot of fantastic, valuable information today from all of us, but if there's anything you get from my presentation, I do want it to be what's on the slide because of the value to consumers that this information has. Two of these points are essentially legislation made and intended for consumer protection when hiring contractors. So projects priced at $1,000 or more require that the contractor be licensed. So for those of you who hire handymen or landscapers to do small jobs around your property that fall under that amount, that does not require a license. You can hire essentially anyone as long as the project is below that amount. However, hiring someone with a license gives you a higher level of protection because should there be an issue, you can file a complaint with us and we can investigate their license. That is, what I mentioned at the beginning, we provide consumer protection by licensing. That is what we do. Today, you're seeing the consumer protection education side through my presentation, but a lot of what we do is based in enforcement. We have statewide offices that do investigations into complaints filed by consumers. So that's something good to know. And also, there is no handyman license. So a handyman implies someone who is independently without employees and without permits doing jobs below the $1,000 limit. If the job's over the limit, they need a license. If the job is below the limit, but it requires employees or a permit, they cannot do that without a license. And then get that sales pitch in writing because a really great verbal sales pitch where you're chatting it up with the salesman, you're connecting over photos of your grandkids or talking about your favorite vacation spot that you both love, right? That gives you no legal protection. And the contract, the sales pitch, everything being in writing does. As well, so down payments. So money paid up front before the work has been completed or a step of the work has been completed. That upfront amount cannot exceed 10% or $1,000 of the total contract price. And that is whichever is less. So essentially what this means is it is intended to prevent contractors from taking a large lump sum of money up front and abandoning the job. I'm later going to give an example of a type of job that we see a lot of complaints surrounding that come from. Okie dokie. And next up, so when it comes to what do I need to know before I hire a contractor? Get at least 3 bids and shop around. Compare your options, take your time. Never feel pressure to work with the first contractor that you speak with because you want to make an informed decision. And ask to see that pocket license and that photo ID. Like I mentioned, this is an example over on the right of those licenses that are issued and printed up here in Sacramento at our headquarters. And also ask for liability and workers' comp insurance proof. The reason for that is if the contractor has employees and they don't have that insurance in place, or let's say it's expired, and any of their employees get injured on your property, when that insurance isn't in place, the homeowner's liable for the injury, um, which we do not want, right? We never want anyone to be in that situation. So something good to know, always get that detailed written contract and don't let payments get ahead of the work or pay for anything that isn't up to your standards. So if the job is not getting done at the agreed to timeline, or if it is, it's getting done, but it doesn't look the way you thought, talk to your contractor before you make additional payments. And then again, that down payment limit, so 10% or $1,000 of the total contract price, whichever is less. And for those of you who might pay in progress payments, right? If any of you are familiar, where you pay in steps as the work has been completed, you essentially will still pay that allowable upfront down payment, and then you will pay in steps. So you want to make sure you're not paying for a step of the work that has yet to be completed. And you want to keep all your project documents together, like receipts, the contract, photos, emails, etc. I know it can be a pain to keep all that documentation together, but it really is a huge benefit to you should you need it later. And consumers do have 4 years from the start date of the construction to file a complaint. So should you realize later on, or let's say you get your roof repaired and a year in, it's leaking horribly and it's like, whoa, or let's say you get a whole new roof and you're like, this isn't right. You can reach out to us and file a complaint. And ages 65 and older do have a 5-day right to cancel a contract. If you're below the age of 65, you have a 3-day right. Because sometimes you sign it, you get really excited, and you go, ooh, I wasn't ready to do that, or oh, I rushed into that. I don't feel good about that. So you do have that time. All right, and then as I mentioned, as promised, I know it's not the most exciting part, but it's important to talk about ADUs in this presentation because so accessory dwelling units, um, these are very popular for those who want to accommodate aging loved ones close to home with still with a good amount of independence. And a lot of seniors or families of seniors that they want to um, have home near them are having these built. And what we're seeing a lot of is contractors who are taking massive upfront um, sums outside of the allowable down payment limit and then abandoning the job. And I have talked to several victims of this particular type of construction scam, and they were all seniors. So that is the importance of discussing ADUs in this presentation. So to back up a little bit, ADUs are, as I said, they're accessory dwelling units, and they can essentially be either detached living spaces built onto someone's property or attached additional structures built onto an existing home or someone's existing structure. And it's important to don't be afraid to do a little bit of research yourself. The importance of that is permit regulations, especially local laws and regulations. So these are things that can vary by county, by city. Municipal law can be very complex. So knowing that is very valuable to you because it gives you an opportunity to fact check your contractor, make sure they have the skills to do such an involved type of job because you're building essentially a new structure or attaching something to your home. Like that's big. That involves wiring, electrical, plumbing, insulation, all kinds of things. So that is the reason we stress down payments so much is for very large, involved, expensive jobs like ADUs. I even last week had my mom look at me at dinner and go, when I'm older, would you let me build an ADU on your property? And I'm like, absolutely. If that's what you need, I got you, mom. So again, they're relevant. A lot of people, as they age, are thinking about making choices like this. So I bring it up as a joke, but there's a huge value in being knowledgeable should you want to consider this later, or maybe you're thinking about it now. But again, my other big example I want to give you, and I'll be quick, is solar. So the reason for this is especially down in San Diego, I'm sure there's a lot of sun. There's a lot of people maybe. I know I don't get the opportunity to see the in-person hand raising, but I'm sure many of you have probably been approached by solar salesmen. And if you haven't, so what's good to know is solar is not free. Be very wary of salesmen who are very high pressure trying to sell you free solar, free entirely, no strings attached, but it's only available today. It's a fantastic deal, but only today. Think about that, right? Take a moment, like I said earlier, think critically. Does that really make sense? If it's such a good deal, it should be available tomorrow, right? So if it's too good to be true, or if it feels that way, it probably is. There are some legitimate, either like nonprofit organization related or government regulated low cost or no cost solar programs, but they're few and far between. And typically will have some kind of income requirement or qualifications. They're not just free across the board. So check that license. I'll show you that soon. Make sure you understand the contract. And I know that contract language, that can be very overwhelming. But what's important in general is to make sure that the timeline, the payment schedule, the list of everything that's being done, the work being done, that scope of work, the important details. That's what you want to make sure you understand. Ask your contractor if it doesn't make sense before you sign it. You want that to be understandable in your own terms. And one quick example I like to give on this topic that I hear come up through seniors that reach out to me regarding solar scam concerns is that older adults well into their 80s are, and I understand this is a sensitive topic, but I bring it up for a reason. Older adults well into their 80s are being given contracts to sign that are 25, 30-year contracts. And when you think about that, right, if a salesman is trying to pressure you, sign your name away to something that you're held liable for 30 years and you're in your late 80s, that isn't always the best decision. And that's also a huge red flag of a scam if a salesman's pushing that on you. So just something to be mindful of. Because believe it or not, I have seniors who experience that, who were caught up in that and come to me and share that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is serious. There's scammers who are seriously pushing this on seniors. So I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but I talk about it with the intent of protection, obviously. All right, and then just a few things left before I conclude, and then we'll be handing it over to DFPI. So scams, filing a complaint. So should you need to file a complaint, there's a few ways you can do it. We're here to help. You can email us, you can reach out to us over the phone, and there's a process. They can mail you a form. The complaint form, they can walk you through it on over the phone, then mail it, or you can file it online. And here is the front page of our website where you can do that online. And the very last thing, so I want to show you that license check feature. Again, front page of our website on the far left side, as well as we have a QR code and the website link. And I know you've seen a few QR codes throughout our presentation. Should you choose to scan them, they will not ask for your credit card information. They will take you to a CSLB webpage. They are not a scam. Okay, and when you pull up that license check page, it's going to ask for either that license number, their business name, the name of the personnel on the license, or a home improvement salesperson name or number. So a home improvement salesperson is a salesperson with an individual CSLB license, not as a company, but just to sell the service and do the initial contract signing and stuff on behalf of a construction company. And that's pretty often these days. So if you're working with someone like that, you want to make sure that their license is good and active and has everything it needs, as well as the license of the business, the company that they're representing. Okay, and this is a sample of what a license profile will look like. I know this example is essentially showing an expired license, but what it's going to show you is the business contact, the status of the license, the classifications, the bond, and the workers' comp information. The classifications are important because, as you can see on here, this is a solar license. So there isn't just one CSLB license that we offer. We license in a lot of different classifications with a lot of sub-classifications under that. I believe that the grand total for classifications is 45 with a lot under that. So what that means is they have to be licensed to do the specific type of work. So if you're hiring a roofer, they need to have a roofing license. If you're hiring a plumber, they need to have a plumbing license, etc. So that is a huge benefit to the license check because you can verify details like that. As well as this one doesn't have it, but it will show you, as long as the investigation is closed, if there have been prior complaints against that contractor, because that's valuable public information. All right, and then here are our senior resources. We have a video on our senior webpage. This is the senior dedicated page on our website with lots of resources, as well as a video version of my presentation with me speaking in front of a green screen. So it's a great resource on top of the recording I know you'll get from today's seminar. So should you have loved ones or friends who would like to review that, we all have all that on our website too. And this is our final contact information. So we've got our call center, our CSLB info email, our general email, our outreach email, should you have questions about the presentation or be part of an organization who'd like to schedule a presentation. And then again, our senior webpage. So I'll leave it just for a quick sec. And again, it sounds like everyone will have ample access to this presentation later. All right, and then thank you all. It has been an absolute pleasure. I get to do this with this office every February, so thank you all. And I'm going to turn it over to Sally Westlake. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kara. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Sally Westlake, and I'm the Targeted Outreach Specialist with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. So, what can you do to protect yourself from fraud? Protect yourself from financial frauds and scams so that you don't become the next victim of fraud. So before I get started, excuse me, important information about this presentation. So the views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the presenter and does not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the DFPI. This is not financial advice and it's for educational and information purposes only. The DFPI does not assume responsibility for the completeness of the information. And if you'd like more information, please visit us on our website at dfpi.ca.gov or email us at outreach@dfpi.ca.gov. If you remember anything from my presentation today, this is it. I want you to remember to stop, look, and think before you click, tap, or send somebody money that you've never met in person. Remember, stop, look, and think. So this is who we are. We are the Department of Financial Protection Innovation, or DFPI. We are a state agency, formerly known as Department of Business Oversight. We are a consumer protection agency. We regulate, license, and oversee financial institutions, products, professionals, which includes California chartered banks and credit unions, your finance lenders, student loan servicers, mortgage loan servicers, investment advisors, brokers, and many more. So a complete list of our licensees is available on our website at dfpi.ca.gov. We conduct exams to ensure state and federal compliance. We review consumer complaints and pursue legal actions against those operating illegally and using unlawful, deceptive, or abusive practices. We also provide financial education and consumer awareness presentations like today throughout California to inform and help protect consumers. According to the FBI's Internet Crime Report, Americans over the age of 60 lost $4.8 billion to fraud in 2024. That's a 40% increase from 2023. Financial frauds and scams can happen to anyone at any time with any level of financial expertise. That is why the DFPI works with Californians of all ages and backgrounds to spot frauds and scams. Now, this is only a partial list of the most common scams being perpetrated by scammers today, and they include grandparent relative scams, your romance scams, your government imposter scams, AI powered scams, could be investment scams, tech support scams, payment app scams, and again, many more. So today I will have a chance to highlight a couple of the scams, and which includes the signs to look out for, and so that you don't become a victim of fraud. And then close with the next steps for those who have unfortunately already been targeted by a scam. As technology progresses and our world changes, consumers must keep up to date with the newest type of scams that may target them. And one type of scam uses artificial intelligence or AI technology. Now, scammers can impersonate your family and friends using AI technology to ask you for money or personal information. Now, they do this by manipulating videos and recordings found on social media to produce realistic sounding voice recordings or even videos. These are called voice cloning or deepfakes. Now, during these scams, you'll typically receive a call from what sounds like a panicked loved one asking for money. It can be something like, "Mom, these bad men have me." The mom realizes and she believes that scammers have cloned her daughter's voice in a fake kidnapping. Now let's look at some of the signs. It's a voice cloning scam. You're contacted out of the blue. You are pressured to act immediately with no time to think. The caller is urgently requesting money, usually through a wire transfer, gift card, payment app, or cryptocurrency. These methods of payment make it nearly impossible to get refund once you've been scammed. The caller is requesting personal or private information from you, and you're told to keep the caller's request a secret. Now, what can you do? How to respond to a scammer like this? Ask questions. Caller ID can be faked. Although a scammer may sound like a loved one, they won't be able to answer personal questions that only your real loved one would know the answer to. So you can ask them to confirm details that aren't publicly available, nothing found on the internet or on social media, or create and use a family safe phrase. Be skeptical. Hang up and call the person back, but don't simply redial the number that called you. Call their trusted number. If you can't reach that loved one directly, try to reach out through another family member or a friend. Remember, stop and think. Urgency is one of the scammers' most powerful tools, getting you to do what they want. You can take control of the situation by pausing for a moment. Remember, stop and think to consider the situation rationally. Be wary of what you share on social media. Scammers learn information about you and your loved ones through personal information shared online. Be mindful of the information you share and make your accounts private so only trusted friends can see your posts. And lastly, report the scam. Now let's take a look at some of the signs that it could be a deepfake scam. Look for signs of an altered video, including jerky or unrealistic movements, shifts in lighting or skin tone, strange or no blinking, and shadows around the eyes. Listen for inconsistencies. Is the speaker doing something totally out of character, like asking for your money or personal information? Deepfake videos often feature strange word choices and choppy sentences. The caller is requesting money, usually urgently and through a hard to trace method like a wire transfer, gift card, payment app, or even cryptocurrency. So, how to best respond to a deepfake scam? React the same way you would anytime you think you might be getting scammed. Stop to think and be skeptical of any information. Find a way to research or verify the claims in the video. If you see the video on social media, you should report it to the platform. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Government imposter scams. Bad actors and scammers pretend to be someone else. It could be a government employee, even a financial institution, or even a utility company. Their goal is to get you to send them money or share your PII, personal identifying information. You might get a call or a message that it's the IRS and you'll back taxes. And if you don't pay, they're going to issue an arrest warrant. So here's a tip. Government agencies do not call you out of the blue. They definitely will not threaten you with arrest, and they do not take payment over the phone. They do not accept gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency as a form of payment. Using a technology called spoofing, the imposters can make any phone number look like it's coming from any other number they want, including government agencies like the IRS. So if you think there really could be an issue, stop, think, go to the source, look up the real number, like to the IRS Customer Service Center, and call and verify. And do not engage with a potential scammer on the phone. The evolution of technology has revolutionized the way we manage our finances. While innovative and practical, these tools come with special risks and considerations. Like peer-to-peer or P2P payments are instant electronic money transfers between individuals via apps like Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, linking bank accounts or credit cards for fast, convenient transactions. Now, while generally they are secure, they carry risks of fraud, scams, and lack of FDIC insurance for funds held in these app balances. So users should verify the recipients carefully to avoid irrecoverable losses. Now, these P2P payments were created and meant to be used between family and friends, people that you know. So let's look at some, oops, let's go back one. There we go. Let's look at some core safety practices when it comes to using digital payments. So enable multi-factor authentication or MFA. Use biometrics like fingerprint, facial recognition, or one-time codes to increase security by over 99%. Secure your devices and apps by keeping the phone software up to date and use unique passwords. Use strong, unique passwords for payment apps and financial accounts. Monitor activity. Set up alerts for every transaction to instantly detect unauthorized suspicious activity. Avoid public Wi-Fi, like at the library, at your local stores, even Starbucks. Never access, especially your banking apps or digital wallets, on unsecured public networks. Now, check its secure network. When you go to your secure network, you're looking for HTTPS. That S should be there. You're also looking for that lock to the left of the URL address where it says HTTPS. You want that lock to be closed. Again, another sign that you are visiting a secured website. Then you also want to verify recipients. Only send money to trusted, known contacts, whether it's in your phone, your contact list, caller ID, people that you know, to avoid phishing and scams. Reporting suspected fraud is the first step. Reporting can help authorities try to stop those who commit fraud and also help prevent others from becoming victims. So report it to the DFPI by going online and filing a complaint. You can also call us for assistance. So you can visit us on our website at dfpi.ca.gov. Our toll-free number is 866 275 2677. Then you want to go to your local law enforcement and report and file a complaint there. It's important, excuse me, to get a report number. Then you're going to use that report number and file scam and report scams and fraud to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. Now, if it's a cyber or internet crime, you want to take the next step and file a report with the FBI's Internet Crime Report. Now, the FTC and the FBI will use your report to investigate and bring cases against other fraud, scams, and bad business practices. But when you file a complaint with the DFPI, you will get a claim number as well as a direct response. Now, if you or someone you know 60 plus has been a victim of fraud, call the National Elder Fraud Hotline. Now, this hotline is a free resource created by the U.S. Department of Justice. You can reach a case manager who's going to help you through the reporting process, and they can assist you at the federal, state, and even local levels. And you can also be connected with other resources depending on a case-by-case basis. So again, if you're not tech savvy, you don't know how to report fraud, you just need help, somebody to talk to, please call the National Fraud Hotline at 1-833-372-8311. So again, here is the contact information for the Department of Financial Protection Innovation. Visit us on our website at dfpi.ca.gov. We have a wealth of resources available, including the Crypto Scam Tracker, where you can find out what's going on, what type of crypto scams have been reported by Californians as well as by the industry. You can call us at 866-275-2677. You can ask questions about any of our licensees, get more information about frauds and scams. You can go to our website to file a complaint. And then we also have a monthly newsletter called the DFPI Consumer Connection. Monthly newsletter sent via email, and we are giving you up-to-date information about what's going on in the financial services industry, about current scams, as well as upcoming events that our outreach team is participating in. So you can go on our website and subscribe again to our newsletter. So again, I'm going to close out with stop, look, and think before you click, tap, or send money to somebody you've never met in person. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Brenda from the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Thank you very much, Sally, for that great presentation. And thank you for the host for allowing us to be here today and just share this wealth of information with you. I'm just making sure. There we are. So my name is Brenda Caloca. I am with the California Department of Insurance. I will go ahead and dive into what our department does. But just quickly, we do regulate for the most part, which is homeowners, renters, car insurance, annuities, life insurance as well, homeowners insurance. So if you have any of those, we most likely regulate. We do a little bit of the health, but for the most part, those are our main focus. We are under the direction and leadership of Commissioner Ricardo Lara. We do focus, and his main priority under his leadership is consumer protection from fraud and scams. So you being the consumer. We do regulate most lines of insurance, as I mentioned. His main priority is also to make sure that insurance companies do maintain solvency, essentially have the money available to you when you need it and when you submit a claim. We also set standards for agents and brokers licensing to ensure that they're equipped to inform you with the necessary information. We also assist with resolving consumer insurance complaints, in addition to investigating fraud and scams. And we do work alongside. We have a small police department that focuses on investigations of this area and works with prosecution if needed. Now, moving on to why are the seniors the largest target? And I know Kira mentioned it, Assemblymember Ward mentioned it, and essentially you are the largest population that are targeted for scams. And of course, you're vulnerable. You have a nice person that approaches you and is sweet and nice and a nice smile, and you tend to say, "Oh, how sweet. Yes, darling." But it's important to note that you are a targeted population because of your accumulated wealth, your home, right? Life insurance, retirement savings, so on and so forth. So it's important to know that you need to protect your information. You need to protect and be informed. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into some common insurance scams that tend to be very popular out there and that you should be aware of. Number one, investments and annuities fraud, making sure that the individual that you are conducting business with is actually someone who is trustworthy, making sure that you work with your loved ones who can assure that the individuals you're working with are actually trustworthy. Auto insurance fraud, we've seen them. There's different and a variety of scams that come through auto insurance. It could be someone just staging an accident. It could be in a ring. Essentially, what they're doing is going after your insurance policies through injuries. And so being aware that number one, you're protecting how much your maximum coverages are, you're protecting your information when it relates to this, and that you're documenting and preparing accurately. The other thing is life insurance and long-term care, right? Oftentimes they'll ask you for your information when you're, maybe getting a phone or some of the prevalent scams that were happening during COVID-19 was offering you a COVID shot for your insurance information. And that was something that was prevalent during COVID-19. So ensuring that you are doing and conducting business with trusted individuals, but also that they're verified. That's going to be essential when you're dealing with different folks and doing different transactions. Homeowner insurance and repair fraud. This tends to be very prevalent when, of course, after a major disaster like we just had, and you're rebuilding, there are folks that are just trying to prey on people's vulnerabilities and trying to quickly rebuild. And oftentimes the contractors won't be licensed, right? And they will go after your insurance money without building anything. So making sure you're following all the steps and keys that Kira shared with us, but also ensuring that they're licensed, calling our department if you have any questions, of course. And premium theft insurance policies. There are some individuals out there who either are not licensed, who will draft up a policy that is not actually a real policy, and they will give you some fake or phony contracts, and they will collect the money directly from you, whether it be cash or it be a transaction directly to them. So always remember not to provide any of this information or pay directly to the broker or agents, no matter how sweet, how nice or trustworthy they may seem. Never do that. Always ask for your policy. Call the company itself to verify that your policy is actually active. And that way you can prohibit. And again, just as Kira and also Ms. Westlake also shared with us, is to make sure that with jackets that you have verified and basically not be peer pressure into signing any contracts without understanding everything. As I mentioned, if it is a good deal today, it's going to be a good deal tomorrow. So making sure you are taking your time. Medicare fraud is another one. So being sure that you're aware and keeping yourself protected. We don't want to make you paranoid by bringing these to you, but really it's considering to strengthening your intuition to really watch out for warning signs and red flags, which takes us to the major key informations and takeaways about protecting yourself. Essentially, it is your responsibility, right? It's our responsibility as individuals to really protect our financial information. That is our social security, our bank accounts, credit card accounts, account numbers. Those are key personal information that scammers are just standing on the sidelines waiting to get from you. Make sure that when you are dealing with different entities that you are keeping documents, photos, videos, and call logs of everything that's transpiring so that you can have a vivid recollection and timeline of who you're talking to. And of course, as mentioned previously, always verify licensees. We do have on our webpage where you can actually check to see if agents are licensed, if it's active, and then also seek advice from trusted family members, as I mentioned, and friends, and take your time. You know, shouldn't be pressured. And I know sometimes when you're in the moment, you may want to move forward quickly because you're really being pressured, but really take a step back and say, I thank you so much for the information, but I need to read this through and really make a conscious decision because this is a lot of information at once. So definitely be bold in doing so and not be afraid. Some of the warning signs that you should take a look at is when folks are offering free seminars with meals, right? You'll see a lot of folks offering trust, right? Trust funds are helping you set those up. And so remember, Living Trust, that will all have all your financial information. So you always want to make sure that you're working with trusted folks. Do your due diligence in checking and getting reviews and figuring out who you're about to do business with. Also, being aware that sometimes they'll give you wrong information about your investments, right? And they'll keep you in the dark. So making sure that you are talking to the companies themselves as well as working with your agents, but checking in here and there with the companies itself, especially when you're just establishing any accounts. You want to make sure that you are verifying this information. Now, in terms of resources, we do have a portal that's designed and dedicated specifically for our seniors. It's called Senior Gateway. We do have various resources that are available throughout the state, and therefore you can have access to and see what best works for you. We also have what we call our Senior Insurance Bill of Rights. It has added protections for you as a senior, an extra added time to cancel policies, to pretty much test and try. So make sure that you are in the loop about those. We also have various senior information guides available to you on our webpage so that you have additional resources should you need them. In addition to that, we encourage you to, you can also check up on AARP Fraud Watch hotline for any prevalent fraud. If you suspect them, you can call and report it to any of these organizations, including to our department, Coalition Against Insurance Fraud and the Senior Medical Patrol. These are just additional resources where these potential scams can be reported to. And before I do go on to the next way to how to report to our department, I would like to just share a little bit about our California low-cost auto insurance program. Essentially, this provides affordable low-cost liability insurance. It is state-sponsored. However, we do not sell insurance. We're the regulatory agency, but we do sponsor this specific program. The goal is to decrease the number of uninsured drivers. So rather than allowing consumers to forego insurance because they can't afford it, we encourage them to check into the California low-cost auto insurance program. There are some eligibility requirements. You do need a valid driver's license or an AB60, meet income guidelines. So if you're on Medi-Cal, CalFresh, CalWorks, EDD, or have a pension, you may qualify as well. And your vehicle does have to be worth less than $25,000 or less. And again, this is just to be able to decrease the number of uninsured drivers. The coverages are a bit lower than the standard required state requirements. However, it does meet the state law of having insurance. So make sure that you do check this out. You can call our office to find out more information. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you right into mylowcostauto.com and figure out if you do qualify. And now in different ways that you can actually request for assistance from our office, you can actually call us at 1-800-927-4357. You can go online and submit a request for assistance. A compliance officer will be assigned once they're obtain the inquiry. It will be sent to the insurance company. The insurance company will then have up to 21 days to respond, and then the case timeline really depends on the complexity of that. You can also reach us by email. If you are interested in really understanding your policies, perhaps you are not sure what it really says, or your insurance agent went through it, but you still have a few questions or are unsure, you can definitely call our office and we will have a specialist go over the policy with you, let you know what the exclusions are, so that way you can make better financial decisions based on the protections the coverages that you currently have with your policies. And just to note, we do have statewide education series coming up. We have tomorrow, the first one, it'll be our auto insurance. Then we have life annuities and seniors, residential insurance, health insurance, and business insurance. So this is a QR code here. I will also drop the link on the chat so that you have that available. In terms of our consumer alerts, we encourage you to stay updated on our efforts of legislation, new regulations that are coming out, consumer safety education, fraud prevention, unfair and deceptive business practices, and any insurance issues that may arise will be notified through our consumer alerts. So stay connected so that you can be in the loop. I thank you so much for your time. If you have general questions, specific inquiries, feel free to reach out directly to our webpage, or you can call our 1-800-927-4357 number. This is our social media handles, and we do care what you think. So if you can help us by giving us feedback about our presentation, we're always looking forward to really better our presentations. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll hand it back over.
Amazing. Thank you so much to all of our presenters. My name is Michael Bravo. I'm a field representative for Assemblymember Chris Ward here in his district office in San Diego. Now at this time, if there are any in attendance who wish to provide any questions for our panelists, I also have a question here that was sent in prior to the webinar starting. But we'll give it a few minutes to field some questions. You can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions for any of our presenters about any of the topics that they brought up, or a topic that wasn't brought up that you would like to hear more information for, and they might have a possible answer to. So we'll go ahead and just give it a few minutes for y'all to put in those questions, and we will begin shortly.
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, since we're waiting for questions to come in through the Q&A, why don't I go ahead and just go over some highlights on how to avoid a scam? I didn't say I presented earlier because I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to go over on my time. But if I've got a couple minutes, why don't I talk about how to avoid a scam? So top 10 tips. So don't answer calls from an unknown number. right? Uh, delete any spam emails or text messages. Don't give your personal information or financial information in response to a request that you did not expect. Change your passwords, create a family safe phrase, resist the pressure to act immediately, know how scammers tell you to pay, and that includes your wire transfers, your gift cards, cash, and now even besides cryptocurrency, there is also um, uh, gold bars that they're requesting. You go to Costco and buy gold bars and leave it outside your front door as payment to a scammer. Stop and talk to someone you trust. Verify. Go to the source. Look up the real phone number. And then finally, report frauds and scams.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Michael. I'm going
Sally.
to turn it back over to you.
Amazing. Well, we have one question here from an anonymous attendee, and it revolves around AI. I'll read. AI is being used more, and I fear that bad actors may get better at scamming. I know it was mentioned earlier, but what can consumers do to protect against scammers who use ChatGPT to get better at scamming?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that question. Yes, I did go over briefly about AI. I mean, there's just so much technology being used by scammers, right? And as technology gets better, so do scammers. Now there's a lot more criminal organizations, even especially overseas in different countries, that is using technology and committing this type of fraud. So you have to do the best that you can to protect yourself. And those are some of the tips that I gave out earlier. Yes, phishing emails are using ChatGPT to make the emails sound so real that it's really hard to detect. It is no longer the phishing emails from years past where a Nigerian prince wanted to give you $10 million, right? It's a lot more real, and they're now taking what is it, logos from PayPal, Amazon, Apple. They're just cutting and pasting those logos onto a phishing email using ChatGPT, right, to come up with this excellent email and phishing emails to trying to get you to click on something in their link, to call their telephone number, create a sense of urgency, having you respond to getting you to send them money. So remember, stop, look, and think before you click and tap. Don't send anybody money that you've never met in person. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Use, two factor authentication, MFAs, use strong passwords, some of the tips that I highlighted earlier. Talk to your family members, talk to a trusted advisor if it doesn't sound right.
Amazing. All right, we're going to move on to another question. This comes from someone in the webinar. I found my SSN associated social security number associated with someone else on public sites and tried to report it to the SSA. There's been no signs of it being used by that person, but I would like to get it corrected. Can anyone provide any insight on social security scamming or fraud?
Okay, so I can go briefly into that. Um, you definitely wanted to report it to the Social Security Administration. You definitely want to report it to the IRS, the Franchise Tax Board, where your Social Security number is used predominantly to identify you. And then more importantly, you want to do a report it as an identity theft fraud alert on your credit reports. There are three major credit reporting agencies: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and under the new law, which the DFPI now regulate. But the federal government allows you to get a free credit report from all three of the credit reporting agencies. So you want to look at your credit report and see if your social security number has been used to open up any credit, get a loan. Maybe they opened up a Home Depot account in Texas and bought a new refrigerator that you were not made aware of. So you want to do a fraud alert on your credit reports. You want to freeze your credit. Um, and one the only website that is approved through the federal government is annualcreditreport.com. That is where you are entitled to get your free credit report. Again, make sure that your social security number hasn't been used, isn't being currently used to commit fraud.
Thank you so much, Sally, for that answer. And of course, if you are reaching out to the Franchise Tax Board, I would like to highlight that our office is a great resource to do so. If you are having issues with reaching out to the FTB and you're not getting a timely response, you are always welcome to reach out to your local representatives, especially here at the Assembly and of course the State Senate as well. You can reach out to our office by calling our office number, or of course reaching out to any of our field representatives. I can happy to provide my email address in the chat as well. We also got a question about unlicensed contractors and working with them. For constituents who go with unlicensed contractors and they don't provide a receipt of purchase or receipt of sale, how does a constituent navigate that sort of job, or that sort of working with those kinds of contractors?
So, yeah, thank you for asking that. So it's a little bit of a complex question, but in general, so I see that the question is kind of related to permits. So permits are actually managed by the State Building Department. They're not regulated directly by CSLB, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but what I can say is when it comes to one thing is being unlicensed, one thing is, the permit side, but within the knowledge I have, how I understand it is permits are typically more related to like major jobs on your house. For something like a fence being painted, I want to say in most areas that isn't typically needed permit wise, but that would be up to again the State Building Department and sometimes that locality. But in general, when it comes to hiring someone knowing that they don't have a license, for instance, and if that job is below the limit, I would say what's best to do in terms of navigating that is, and there are people who hire great, reliable handymen, ask for some photos or like proof of jobs they've done, and really like if they have like a legitimate kind of either like a side gig or a handyman business, research that online, look at reviews, and get there. Like you want to at least be able to verify, like in general, right? Like who they are and the specific type of work that they specialize in. There's no one right way to navigate that situation because when it's outside of state regulation, it can be tricky. But in general, doing your research, asking good questions can help build some trust. Yeah, I would say that that's the best way I can answer that. I hope that helps.
No, thank you so much. I think that since I'm not seeing any further questions coming in, we can go ahead and start wrapping up the webinar. I want to thank all of our amazing panelists for joining us again today. This is the Contractor State License Board, the Department of Insurance, and of course the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Yes, it's a mouthful, but we really do appreciate all of you for taking the time and educating us today. If you have any questions again for our office, please feel free to reach out to the email I provided. That is my email address. You can also reach out to assemblymember.ward@assembly.ca.gov. Once again, assemblymember.ward@assembly.ca.gov. Also a mouthful. You can also call our district office at 619-280-7801, 619-280-7801. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great, great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.